The frustration that Jimmy displayed. Corn Pop. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Without me,
Behold, pale horse. I'd pay $5 to see Jimmy Dore body slam a disagreeable guest. Just saying, LOL.
What the fuck?
Now jumping ship when it comes to when it comes to Israel. This is happening. Piers Morgan turns on Israel, and by turns on, he doesn't mean he put on a skirt and started dancing for Netanyahu, because that's a different kind of turn on. But here it is. Let's listen.
He has.
So now it's clear to everybody that Israel, what they're doing and what Netanyahu's doing, and what Trump is doing by censoring people and kicking people out of the country that we want in the country, meaning people who have green cards or who have residency, who are here pursuing academia, and he's kicking them out. The brightest, the best and brightest that we welcome here, he's kicking them out because they cross Israel, because they wrote an op-ed for their ideas. So again, this is the end of Israel, and this is the end of Israel as an apartheid state. And people are starting to realize it because the world is turning on them. There's a brain drain in Israel. Everybody's leaving there. Their economy's crashing. And now they're realizing that they're the people that they used to claim to be fighting against. And here's Piers Morgan, and he finally realized it. Here it is.
Listen, you and I have talked about this war in Gaza ever since it started, this phase of the 75-year conflict. And I have resisted going as far as you have done.
Not only has he resisted it, but he shamed anybody who told the truth about Israel, and he wanted to make you genuflect first at the altar of Benjamin Netanyahu and Zionism. No matter what you said, he would say, "But do you condemn Hamas? But never ask somebody, do you condemn Israel? Do you condemn Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you condemn Zionism?" So here he is, finally got his head out of his ass.
In your criticism of the Israeli government, I resist no more. I think we've reached common ground about what we view is happening and has been happening through this period of this blockade, which frankly is just starvation of the people there, including so many innocent young women and children. And I think that the incessant bombing and killing, and we don't know how many civilians have been killed, but it is on a daily basis. It looks like hundreds of people every day, with no apparent attempt, it seems to me, to have any real plan for how this ends or what happens when it ends. Other than, if you look at what Smodrich has been saying, probably the most right-wing member of a very right-wing government, he is talking in a genocidal language about kicking all the Palestinians out. So I think you and I have reached a place in the last few weeks where we are in agreement. But my question for you, Mehdi, is how does this end?
So now he agrees with Mehdi Hassan, who told the truth one time on MSNBC, and they fired him. Do you remember that? He told the truth. He told the truth about Israel, and they fired him immediately. Yeah. All the lies he told about Syria, all the lies he told about Ukraine, all the lies he told about Russiagate, all the lies he told about the Twitter files, and all the lies he told about Matt Taibbi. It didn't get him any purchase, because as soon as he told the truth, you don't get fired for lying at corporate news. They fired him immediately. He told the truth about Israel, and they immediately fired him. So there is.
It's not even 3 strikes, you're out.
So what he's saying is that he agrees with Mehdi Hassan, and Mehdi Hassan has been calling what Israel's doing a genocide. So there it is. It's done. It's over, because Piers Morgan is like the guy who runs around telling everybody they're not dressed up and up at a party. Why are you dressed so poorly? And then he realizes his schwanz has been hanging out the whole time, and that's what this is. That's what he's finally figured out. He's the He's finally realizing that it's not going to turn out the way he thinks it's good. He's not going to be on the winning side of this. That's what this is. He's finally realized that the light goes out in the fridge when the door is closed. He finally realized that.
He's waiting to see when to jump off the ship.
Yep.
They all do that. They think that's called being smart. That's how that scumbag has survived to this day.
Yes.
He's the guy from that hacking scandal. Remember that?
Yes. He was wrong about everything. And he was wrong about same thing he did with COVID. He shamed and slandered people right up until the point where it wasn't cool to do that anymore, where he was going to start, it was going to be bad for him. So then he just jumped ship.
Yeah, so, it's called the Como point in nature.
But
the Chris Cuomo point.
Yeah, the Chris Cuomo point, right? So here, I love this. One day when it's safe, when there's no personal downside to calling a thing what it is, when it's too late to hold anybody accountable, everyone will have always been against it. And that's
a fact.
That's today for Piers Morgan. That's today for Piers Morgan. I like this. I don't feel like we should let this absolve him of his complicity. I agree. Pierce is frantically cleaning up house as it seems that he's realizing being on the wrong side of history here will have devastating consequences for him and his career. Fortunately, the internet never forgets. 3 weeks ago, Pierce would have been screaming anti-Semite. That's exactly right. Because here he was doing it. Here's Jeremy Corbyn saying, many in our media are finally, this is on May 16th, many in our media are finally waking up to the unspeakable horrors that Palestine are enduring in Gaza. It's too late. You refuse to condemn Hamas. This is on May 16th. You refuse to condemn Hamas for their unspeakable horrors on October 7th when I asked you. So I suggest you shit this one out. Oh, really?
Why is it unspeakable? Because the IDF did it and not Hamas?
By the way, he didn't. He did condemn Hamas for the October 7th. Piers Morgan is a liar. Corbyn has repeatedly and specifically condemned Hamas and their actions on October 7th, including on Piers Morgan's show. Here it is. At every speech I've made, I've utterly condemned the killing of October 7th. It was the taking of innocent life. It was wrong under any circumstances. I don't support Hamas. I'm not a friend of Hamas. October 7th was abominable and appalling. I do not approve or support or welcome Hamas. So that's it. So Piers Morgan has spent the last 18 months asking every pro-Palestinian guest to condemn Hamas. He's never asked pro-Israel guests to condemn Israel. Corbyn refused to play Morgan's squalid little game. Morgan epitomizes the pro-Israel, anti-Palestine bias in the media. And here it is. So here's a lady carrying her dead child, and here's Piers Morgan with a microphone. But do you condemn Hamas? And here he is. Now here he is with Jeffrey Sachs saying the same thing.
It just seems to me, I don't see what the end game is here. I don't see victory in the air for Israel. I see them,
and that's why he's switching, because he sees that Israel's actually going to be losing this. The world is turning, and so he's not doing this because he has great moral character. He's doing this because he cares about his own skin. He cares about his future as a broadcaster. He doesn't actually have a moral compass. That's why he's for the Ukraine war and lied about it, even though he knows he's lying. That's why he's for Israel up until this moment, because it now becomes apparent to him that he's going to be on the losing side. And if it was clear that he was going to be on the winning side, he'd still be calling you an anti-Semite. So here it is.
Eroding global support rapidly with what is now happening.
So, and he sees global support is eroding. So now he's like, well, I gotta stop being on the wrong side.
How do you see it?
I agree with you. What this Israeli government is doing is catastrophic. It is a genocide. It's extraordinarily cruel. It's extraordinary.
Now, just a few weeks ago, he would have stopped and said, well, it's not a genocide. And do you condemn Hamas? And that's anti-Semitic. But now the wind is blowing differently. And so he just sits there and lets Jeffrey Sachs say it. What do you want to say, Kurt?
He'd say, he'd go, is it?
That's
what he said. Genocide, is it bad? Is it?
Yeah, okay. Is it bad? Right.
Vulgar, vicious, ugly. It's disgusting beyond imagining. The problem is that Netanyahu and his ilk and a lot of the political elite class for decades has said, we will rule over everybody. There will never be a Palestinian state. There are many motivations for that view. One is perhaps Netanyahu's view, this is the only way we can be secure. The other, which is also very popular among parts of the Israeli government, is that God promised us everything. These other people are on our land. Now, whatever you say about it, there is no end game of peace on the Netanyahu plan, because the Netanyahu plan, and this has been for decades, is to rule over the entire land. And that means ruling over the Palestinians either in an apartheid state, in other words, oppressing the Palestinian people, or killing them, or expelling them, in ethnic cleansing. It's clear that all of those methods are deliberately being used now. This constant shouting, Hamas, 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 is not the point at all. The point is that the political endgame for Netanyahu, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, the leaders of this government, is to rule over the entire territory of what was mandatory Palestine. In other words, for Israel to control everything. In fact, Netanyahu makes no bones about it. He doesn't hide anything. He says, we will control Gaza. Well, what does that mean? It either means extraordinary oppression, or it means ethnic cleansing, or it means mass murder. Now, Israel's committing mass murder right now. It is as simple as that. And Israel says, well, it's about Hamas, but what is their end game that they offer? They don't offer an end game. They are very clear on the inside. I know what the end game is because if you follow the Israeli politics, the end game is we control everything. In fact, some of this extremist coalition is so vulgarly, rabidly, violently extreme that their interpretation of, quote, God's promise to the Jewish people is parts of Egypt, parts of Syria, parts of Lebanon. They have a very expansive view. And indeed, Israel is in Syria now. It is in Lebanon now. And there are parts of this coalition that say, we're going to stay there. So the problem, Piers, is a political problem. You're completely right. It is a political problem. You're completely right. It cannot be solved by war or defeating Hamas. That's not even their purpose. Their purpose is to control all the land, what they call Greater Israel, or Yisrael Hashlemah, mean the big expanse of Israel. It's a madness. It's a zealotry. It's a cruelty. It's nothing less than that. And there is no peace possible until there is a state of Palestine living in peace on the internationally recognized borders, which are the borders of the 4th of June, 1967, alongside Israel. What Netanyahu would never tell you, what this Doron Spielman, who was shouting just a moment ago, would never tell you, is that all of the Arab states have said, we will have peace when there is a state of Palestine. What they won't tell you is that the entire 57-member Organization of Islamic Cooperation has said, we will have peace with Israel when there is a state of Palestine as a UN member state, properly constituted. And in fact, and you know I hang out at the United Nations, more than 180 countries of the world say this, with a population of more than 95% of the world population. There is a madness, a sickness of the Israeli government, this extremist, cruel and zealot government. But the tragic part is the United States.
It is supporting it. And here's the Greater Israel Project, in case you don't know what he's talking about. So there's Israel. They want to have part of Iraq. They're already in Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, parts of Egypt.
That's all they want. Take Iran. It's right there.
So there it is. So that's
take some of Saudi Arabia.
So this isn't just like something I'm saying. This is their plan. It's called the Greater Israel Plan, the Great Expansion, as Jeffrey Sachs just said. This is their plan.
The thing they said Putin wanted to do that he doesn't want to do is the thing Israel wants to fucking do.
Exactly right. So good to see Piers Morgan finally realize that he's on the losing side and on the wrong side of history. So that's good. I guess
the whole time.
And he, well, I don't know if he knew that I think he was thinking that it would go on indefinitely, or maybe he just thought, yeah, maybe he did know. Maybe he did know eventually this was going to turn out like this for Israel. But at the time, it was better for him to go along with the establishment. So whatever the establishment does, he goes with it. He went with it during COVID. He went with it during Russiagate. He went with it during the Ukraine war. I'm sure he did it with Syria. I'm sure he was with it on Iraq. And sure, here we are.
He said, is it wrong to kill children?
He said it's...
Tucker Carlson said, that's despicable. And he's that's horrible. He goes, is it?
Is it?
You don't say something like that unless you're that type of dude.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there.
So anyway, it's good. But again, it's helpful that he did this. So good for him.
Kudos to him.
Kudos. Over to Steph.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a show this Saturday night at Two Roads in Studio City. It is a great little venue, about 60 seats. It's our last show that we have on the books in LA for a couple months. We don't have anything yet put down, but why don't you come out? And all you have to do is go to jimmydore.com and check out all our tour details. You'll find a link for all the shows that we're doing upcoming.
Okay.
All right, back to Jimmy.
So